Aécio Neves da Cunha is a Brazilian economist, politician and president of the Brazilian Social Democracy Party. He was the 17th governor of Minas Gerais from the 1st of January 2003 to the 31st of March 2010, and is currently a member of the Brazilian Federal Senate. He narrowly lost in the runoff presidential election against Dilma Rousseff in 2014. Biography. Born in Belo Horizonte in the state of Minas Gerais, Neves was the youngest governor in the state's history. He began his political career as a personal secretary of his grandfather Tancredo Neves, who was elected president of Brazil in 1985, but died before taking office. Aécio Neves served the World Federation of Democratic Youth in 1985 and 4 terms as an elected deputy for the Brazilian Social Democracy Party in the Federal Chamber of Deputies from the 1st of February 1987 to the 14th of December 2002, representing Minas Gerais. He was also president of the Chamber of Deputies in 2001-02. As governor, Aécio Neves introduced the management shock, a set of sweeping reforms designed to bring the state budget under control by reducing government expenditure and promoting investment. Having been tipped as a potential candidate for the Brazilian presidential elections in 2010, Neves announced his intention to stand aside from the race at the end of 2009. He ran for the Brazilian Federal Senate instead, and was elected a senator representing the state of Minas Gerais. He took office as a senator of the Republic on the 1st of February 2011. Aécio was a columnist at Brazilian newspaper Folha de São Paulo until June 2014. On the 5th of October 2014, he received the second largest number of votes in the Brazilian presidential election, placing him in the runoff election to be held on the 26th of October 2014, against the first-place candidate and current Brazilian president, Dilma Rousseff, who received 42% of the votes. Early years. Aécio Neves is son of politician Aécio Cunha and Inês Maria. Neves hails from a family of traditional politicians in Minas Gerais. His maternal grandfather Tancredo Neves was a key figure in the redemocratization of Brazil, served as governor of Minas Gerais and elected via electoral college. Neves' paternal grandfather Tristão Ferreira da Cunha and his father Aécio Cunha were congressmen representing the state of Minas Gerais. His paternal grandfather Tristão Ferreira da Cunha, a native of Teófilo Otoni, a northern city in Minas Gerais, was also a politician as well as a lawyer and a professor. He was Secretary of Agriculture, Industry and Commerce in the state government of Juscelino Kubitschek. Aécio Cunha, son of Tristão and father of Aécio, was state deputy between 1955 and 1963 and federal representative between 1963 and 1987. Neves moved to Rio de Janeiro with his parents when he was 10 years old. He had his first job at the Administrative Council for Economic Defense of the Ministry of Justice in Rio de Janeiro. In 1981, his maternal grandfather convinced Neves to return to Belo Horizonte. He moved into an apartment that he shared with his maternal grandfather and father and transferred to Pontificia Universidade Católica de Minas Gerais, where he studied economics. In 1982, Aécio began working in his grandfather's campaign for the state government, attending meetings and rallies in more than 300 towns. Tancredo Neves was elected governor of Minas Gerais, and in 1983, Aécio served as his private secretary. In the following years, Aécio participated in the movement Direitos Já and in Tancredo Neves' presidential campaign. Tancredo Neves won the Brazilian presidency via electoral college in 1985. After the elections, Aécio Neves accompanied the president-elect on visits to democratic countries, a political strategy used to enhance the retransition to democracy in Brazil. They visited the United States and U.S. President Ronald Reagan, France with President François Mitterrand, Italy and Sandro Pertini, Prime Minister Bettino Craxi, King Juan Carlos of Spain and Pope John Paul II. Aécio Neves was appointed Secretary of Special Affairs of the Presidency by President-elect Tancredo Neves, but due to his early death, and José Sani assuming office, the job was cancelled. Congressman in 1986, he ran for the National Constituent Assembly as a member of Brazilian Democratic Movement Party. He received 236,019 votes, which at the time was the largest vote for a congressman elected from Minas Gerais. In the Constituent Assembly, he became vice chairman of the Sovereignty and Rights and Guarantees of Men and Women, and was also one of the authors of the amendment that turned Brazil's voting age to 16 years. In his second term, he voted for the impeachment of President Fernando Collor de Mello. In 1992, Aécio ran for mayor of Belo Horizonte, but was defeated. It was his only electoral defeat until his unsuccessful bid for the presidency in 2014. Neves was re-elected to Congress for a third term in 1994. The term lasted from 1995 to 1998, during which he was elected president of PSDB Minas Gerais. In 1997, he became PSDB's leader in Congress, President of the Chamber of Deputies. In 2001, Neves was elected President of the Chamber of Deputies. He had run against Aloysio Mercadante, Inocencio Oliveira, Valdemar Costa Neto and Nelson Marques Eli, and received more votes than all his competitors combined. He serves as President of Congress from the 14th of February 2001 until the 17th of December 2002. As President of Congress, he assumed, temporarily, the presidency of Brazil starting on the 26th of June 2001. Under his leadership, he promoted the so-called ethical package, a set of measures aimed at moralizing parliamentary action. Neves led the vote of the end of congressional immunity for common crimes, the establishment of a code of ethics and propriety, and the Ethics Committee. He also provided the processing and votes of bills on the Internet so that the public could monitor the processing of the legislative process. He also cut congressional spending and sent saved money back to the federal government. Senator Neves, along with former President Itamar Franco, was elected senator on the 3rd of October 2010 with 7,565,377 votes. Neves is a member of the Senate Committees on Political Reform, Constitutional Affairs, Justice and Citizenship. He participated in the Economic Affairs Committee. As a parliamentarian, Neves has advocated the development of a new federal pact, the strengthening of parliamentary action with the restriction on the use of provisional measures, the reduction of taxes and the change in the calculation used for payment of mining royalties. Main achievements. Governor. On 6 October 2002, Neves was elected Governor of Minas Gerais. On 28 March 2006, Aécio announced his candidacy and soon after was re-elected. Neves became the second longest-serving governor in state history. The government of Minas Gerais expropriated a piece of land owned by Neves's great-uncle, estimated at about 1 million reals. His great-uncle requested 20 million reals for the indemnification. The state appealed. The value in the justice and the indemnification was annulled. As governor, he hired 98,000 public employees without any public selection and with allegedly illegal procedures. During his administration, the salaries of school teachers in Minas Gerais reached the lowest level of the whole country. The basic salary of medical doctors was 1,050 reals, the second lowest of the country. Neves attempted to censor Google, Yahoo, and Bing search results related to rumors about drug abuse and misappropriation of public health funds. Social development. Among the social programs implemented by Aécio CIO of the project to combat rural poverty, developed with total funding of $70 million, divided into two payments of $35 million from the World Bank. The project covers 188 municipalities in northern Minas Gerais and some districts. The communities are responsible for organizing and defining its priorities. The projects range from the construction of kindergartens to the establishment of handicraft associations of fish farms. Neves launched the Youth Savings Program in March 2007 with the goal to support 50,000 high school students from the state system who live in areas of high social risk by 2010. Every student received a sum of 3,000 reals at the end of the third year of high school, which can be used in the professional career. To receive the money, the high school graduates must take a series of commitments on school performance, such as attendance, good grades, and personal behavior. They cannot, for example, engage in criminal activity and should perform community service. Over 30,000 students have participated in the program and have received English classes, computer skills and professional training. Transportation. The Neves government created the paving program Links and Access Road program in 2004 with own resources and funding from the Inter-American Development Bank. The program included the paving of accesses to 225 municipalities that had previously been connected only by dirt roads. Administrative City Tancreda. Neves Administrative City Tancreda Neves, built to be the new headquarters of state government, was inaugurated by Neves on 4 March 2010, on what would have been Tancreda Neves' 100th birthday. The set of 5 buildings was designed by Oscar Niemeyer and is located on the grounds of the former Hippodromo Serra Verde on the border of the municipalities of Belo Horizonte, Vespasiano and Santa Luzia. Management shock. One of the main points of Aécio CIO's government is the so-called management shock, a set of measures to make the government spend less on itself and invest more in people. In the long term, management shock seeks to reduce corruption and to improve the quality and productivity of state government bodies. The program also provides investment in the training of civil servants of the state. In 2003, Neves created Stay Alive, a program to reduce homicides in the state. A year, 13,000 high-risk students and young adults from areas with the highest homicides throughout the state participate in the program. In the areas the program covers, homicide rates have dropped more than 50%. The program focuses on workshops on sport, culture, productive inclusion and communication to divert young people from crime. On the 21st of January 2009, the state government inaugurated the Reference Center for Pregnant Women in Jail, built in Vespasiano, MG. This is the first prison in the country to house pregnant inmates and the babies until they complete 1 year. Aécio CIO launched the first prison in the country built and administered through public-private partnership. Candidacy for presidency in 2014. In December 2012, former Brazilian President Fernando Henrique Cardoso appointed Aécio Neves as candidate of the Brazilian Social Democracy Party for the 2014 presidential elections. In the October 2014 election, Neves received the second greatest number of votes in the first round, defeating former Environment Minister Marina Silva. He narrowly lost in the second round, a runoff against incumbent Dilma Rousseff on 26 October 2014, 48.4% to Rousseff's 51.6%. Controversies. Operation Car Wash. Aécio Neves was quoted by 4 whistleblowers during investigations of the Operation Car Wash. Mr. Alberto Youssef said he heard the former Deputy José Jane speak an Aécio's sister would make him the collection of funds from the Furnas. Furnas is a mixed economy company linked to the Ministry of Mines and Energy. The collection and distribution of bribes would have occurred between 1996 and 2000, during the government of Fernando Henrique Cardoso. On 25 August 2015, the CPI of Petrobras, Youssef reiterated that Aécio received money diverted from Furnas. A Supreme Court judge, by the end of 2015, closed the case for insufficient information. In July 2015, another witness, Carlos Alexandre de Souza Rocha, also known as Sira, said he took 300,000 reals to a director of UTC in Rio de Janeiro and the money would go to the senator. The director said that Aécio was the most annoying of his bribes collector. In February 2016, the same Supreme Court judge closed the case, again for insufficient information. However, due to lack of evidence, the prosecution decided not to proceed with the accusations. On 3 February 2016, Fernando Moura, in a statement, said he heard reports of an alleged kickback from Furnas to Aécio Neves. Moura, who made a whistleblowing agreement with the police. Dimas Toledo's appointment to the position of director of Furnas was made by Aécio in 2002. Moura was appointed by the Speedy Wash as a lobbyist. Dimas Toledo told him that, in Furnas was the same. It'll be a third to the government of Sao Paulo, 1/3 of the national government and a third Aécio. March 2016, in whistleblowing contract, Senator Delcidio Amaral made reference to a supposed illegal activities of Aécio in the investigation conducted by the legislature branch of Congress. Delcidio has information on shady deals made between him and Aécio during investigation of the Brazilian post office in 2006. Drug addiction. Whenever he is asked, Neves replies, disturbed and angry, that he never used cocaine. His denial, however, is universally disputed in Brazil. For example, in 2008, fans shouted in the game Brazil against Argentina in the Mineirão Stadium packed, comparing Neves to Diego Maradona, whose career was marked by dependence on cocaine. Hey Maradona go yourself. Aécio Neves sniffs more than you do. Neves, for several years, tried to disassociate his persona from the drugged rumor and overcome a past reputation as a party-loving playboy with a penchant for luxury. Neves, in order to clean up his image, proposed a review of relations with supposedly narco-state, Bolivia, as well as tighter control of Brazil-Bolivia border. Nevertheless, all of his attempts to modify his image were useless, and in most cases, were blocked by unexpected releases of new information of alleged links with drugs that further reinforces the belief in the use of cocaine. In 2009, requested by one of the most important political member of his party, Mr. Serra, an article was published on page 3 of the newspaper O Estado de S. Paulo. The title of the article was, "Po para Governador," a play on words that was understood by many in the world of politics and among journalists as a clear allusion to the alleged use of the drug by the senator. Even his name, in Brazil, is a slang for cocaine. Unfortunately, subconsciously reinforces the idea. In 2011, Neves was accused to drive under the influence of alcohol and drugs when he was caught by the police and refused to blow the breathalyzer, and during the 2014 campaign for president had to face several news and situations opposing the remake drug-free image. For example, one of his key allies had 450 kilos of cocaine in his helicopter landing and arrested close to Neves' private family airport. The pilot was an employee of the House of Deputies in the state of Minas Gerais, as a personal assistant to Gustavo Perella, a senator with connections with Aécio Neves. Despite the helicopter being the property of a private company, Perella used his petrol allowances to fill the tanks of it. Despite it being the second biggest seizure of drugs in 2013, the mainstream media didn't show much interest in the story. Independent journalists in Brazil covered the incident on the newspapers and TV channels. To aggravate the situation, Lindsay Lohan got involved in Brazilian politics. She tweeted to 8.5 million followers, "Brazil needs change and I support Aécio Neves," which has since been deleted, as has the Facebook post. Due to her addiction problems, Lohan supporting her candidate was not that great of a marketing move to help Neves' image. In March 2016, the senator's drug use fame was revived when the body of Lucas Arcanjo was found dead in a Herzog. Mr. Arcanjo was famously known by accusations of various crimes against the senator, crimes such as drug trafficking, purchase of habeas corpus and murder. Personal life. Neves was born into a political family in the city of Belo Horizonte, capital of southeast Minas Gerais state, in 1960. Neves married model Letitia Weber, from the state of Rio Grande do Sul, in 2013. They had twins, Bernardo and Julia. In September 2014, he has another daughter, Gabriela Falco Neves, born in 1991 from his first marriage with lawyer Andrea Falco.